We were already deep into winter when we decided, perhaps rather stupidly, to turn an old hay shed into a cosy tiny home. Now, when we first arrived in Ireland, the shed was a bit worse for wear, but over the next few months we managed to create ourselves a little wooden cabin. The whole build series is here on the channel, I'll leave a link below, but by far the biggest question we've had throughout the whole process is just how much did our little timber house cost?
We're also going to be comparing how much it costs to self-build our own cabin versus buying one off of the internet and the difference in quality.
Yes, the difference in quality is quite interesting. Also, as this video goes on, you might notice on some of the shots there's an old metal curve roof, and then more recently there isn't. That's because it blew down in a rather large storm, so just to clarify that. But without further ado, shall we go inside and get on with it?
Yeah, let's do it. The inside isn't quite finished yet, but for cost purposes, that don't really matter.
This is our humble little abode. Just ignore the ceiling and the fact that no second fix is done, but for Emily's right, for cost purposes, this will do just fine. Okay, Emily has given me access to the bank account so we can look at the costs, because I'm not normally allowed in there. And look, we've written it all down and everything. We're organised, aren't we?
We are, aren't we? Look how good we are.
Yeah, so we're just going to get straight into it. So there's many stages to building a cabin, the first of which is the foundation. Now, any kind of biggish shed, cabin, or those kind of things needs a solid foundation, doesn't it?
It does indeed.
So we went for the simplest, cheapest foundation we could. Also, the plot we've built on was a bit difficult. So a concrete foundation, a full concrete base would have been the ideal foundation, but we didn't do that. We dug down to undisturbed soil, big stone and then crushed stone on top, and then blocks on top of that. So much like you'd do like a garden shed, very similar system.
So for this stage, we hired a digger. So much stone, just stone coming out of our ears for this part, and a whacker plate as well.
Yes, so I whacked all the stone down, compressed it nicely, got a nice solid base, and then just blocks on top of that. So this was relatively cheap, and in total for the blocks, the cement, the stone, the digger hire and the whacker plate coming at about 700 euros. Now I'm not sure what that is in pounds or dollars or Australian dollars or Canadian dollars, but hopefully one of us will put all the stuff up the side so you guys can see.
The next stage was the framing, and oh my god, I learned so much during that. It was unreal. I learned that it's hard work.
It is very hard work, and it took a fair bit of time because of the weather we was against. So this cost includes framing the floor, so the 5x2, so there's a lot involved in this cost. So we're just doing the costs in how we purchased it really. So I planned the entire build and then went out and ordered all of this. So this is the 5x2 for the floor, the 4x2 for the walls, the 9x2 for the rafters in the roof. This is all of our insulation, which consists mostly of 100mm PIR board and some 100mm wall as well. Then we've got the Tyvek, which is what the entire building is wrapped in, and the Tyvek tape, which is very expensive. Now the reason we added this is because one, we was building it in winter, so it would protect the siding while we did the job. And two, because it's a breathable membrane that will help the building for a good while. The OSB siding, so the 11mm OSB that goes on the side of the building, then the 18mm OSB that we've got on the top of the building, on the roof. All the plasterboard, which as you can see still isn't finished. The tape, the fixings, the jointing compound to go with it, and the membrane for underneath. And I think that's everything inside. So this is basically the insulated shell. The entire cost of the insulated shell came in at
a whopping 5,600 euros.
Yes, which is a lot of money, but like I say, that gave you the insulated box, basically, minus the cladding and the roof, which we're going to get onto next.
Next up was the flooring, and Louise was extremely picky about this flooring, and then when we was doing the cost, I didn't realise it was that much money.
Yes, so normally you'd have OSB for the floor or something like that, and then put your laminate or your lino or whatever on top. I wanted floorboards, proper floorboards, so it seemed a waste to put the OSB down and then put floorboards on top, which made the build quite tricky because we was constantly walking over all the floor joists all of the time. But yeah, we've now got the floorboards, which look lovely. We really wanted that cabiny feel, didn't we, inside?
Yeah.
The floorboards came in at 640 euros, so that's a big difference between if you'd just gone for OSB and laminate. That would have been probably half the price, I'd say.
Straight to the gut, that was.
Straight to the gut, but they do look lovely.
It's floorboards, Louise.
Although to be fair, Emily's put a great big rug over them so you can't see them.
That's what I'm saying. We could have just done anything.
Okay, the next one is quite important. It is the windows and doors. Now, I may have spent a lot of money on the floorboards, but what happened when we went to buy the windows and doors, Emily?
So when we went to buy the windows and doors, we were just going to go for cheap, just cheap second-hand.
Right, and we found a place. We had to drive a long way for second-hand, and I was like, well, it's worth doing the drive because we're going to save about 600 euro on the doors. So we drove all this way, and what happened when we got there?
I saw some really nice green ones, brand new ones that I wanted. So we got them.
So we've got a green French door and then white windows that don't match. But it doesn't matter because they're on different, there's none on the same wall. So we get away with it, don't we?
Yeah, and you can paint them if you want anyway.
But when I was expecting to spend maybe €700-800 on the windows and doors, how much did we spend?
€1,700.
On windows and doors. But they're good quality windows and doors.
They are indeed. And doesn't it look pretty?
It does look lovely. And they're double glazed, so it's...
Double glaze is a winner, Louise.
The next big cost would be the exterior cladding. Now, we have gone for very nice, in my opinion, Wayne larch, and it looks good, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. I was a little bit dubious at the start, I must admit, when we was looking at it, but then once we got it on, I was like, ooh, yeah, it looks nice.
It does look lovely, and I picked larch over spruce because it's just a little bit harder. It's a little bit better with the weather, and it's gonna weather down lovely. So this was also quite expensive. So for all the battens, and again, I went for 2-inch battens rather than 1-inch battens. And the cladding came to €1,400.
I don't actually think that that's that bad.
No, because that is going to protect our insulated shell for a hell of a long time, and it's treated as well. I had it all treated, so it's gonna outlive us, the larch.
Yeah, definitely.
And the final cost for building the cabin and getting us a nice watertight space was the EPDM rubber roof, which was a bugger to fit.
Was that?
That was an absolute nightmare of a job. I made a bit of a mistake with ordering the adhesive, and we just had to go with what we had. But we did get the roof on, didn't we?
We did, yeah. I'd never want to do that again, I'm not going to lie to you, never.
We went with EPDM over felt because it's UV resistant, much better in the rain. It's stuck, it's bonded very well, and it's going to last a good long time. So EPDM's a great product for flat roofing. That came in at...
ridiculous, €1,890.
That was for the whole kit. So that was for the rubber, which is a big sheet, the trims all the way around the edge, the sealant, the waterproofing, and all the adhesive. So yeah, €1,890 all in for the good roof.
And you know what? It's still there. It's not come up. So we're on to a winner, I think.
It's going strong. We've had some wind, haven't we?
We have indeed.
And it's doing well.
Yeah.
It is doing well. So we have a grand total to give you for the entire thing.
Shall I do a drum roll?
You should do it. Hang on. Before Emily does a very, very good drum roll, I'm building you up here. Before Emily does that, I was meant to say right at the beginning, this cabin is 25 square metres. So if you want to compare it for size reference for one you're building, if you're doing a garden room, shed, cabin, whatever, 25 square metres. And also for this first total, we're not going to include the foundation because everybody's foundation could vary differently depending on the size of the cabin, the foundation you go for, and the land you're starting on. Do your drum roll. Oh, no, it needs to be bigger.
Oh, what?
Longer, I'd say.
Longer?
Yeah, keep going until I'm ready to do the price.
You're taking the mick now.
It cost a total of, excluding the foundation, €11,280.
I don't think that that's that bad.
It sounds like a lot of money. It is a lot of money, but we're going to do some comparisons to the money we've saved versus buying a prefab and what you get with a prefab. But before we do that, now I know you're all thinking, how the hell did you build that cabin in the winter and stay on top of your nutritional needs? Well, I have the answer for you.
Oh, you're lucky I caught that then.
Once again, we have to say a massive thank you to Y Foods, not only for sponsoring this video, but for getting us through this entire cabin build. And it is breakfast time, so give me a second. In this bottle here, there is a full 500 calorie full meal replacement. This is food that you can drink. And let me tell you, when you're trying to build a cabin, living a busy lifestyle, traveling and working on the road or whatever, having a quick, easy option that is healthier than any dodgy snack that you might pick up is brilliant. So inside of here, there are all kinds of macronutrients, micronutrients, vitamins, minerals, all that good stuff that your body needs. It's lactose-free, gluten-free. They do a vegan range, if that's your persuasion, and it's full of protein. So on Emily's bottle, it tells you right at the front, look at that. 34 grams of protein. Now, we used our muscles a lot doing this cabin build, didn't we?
I got new muscles and this helped with the protein intake.
Yeah, so it is brilliant. We absolutely love it. We have been drinking / eating this stuff for what, it's nearly 6 years now.
Yeah.
Nearly 6 years now, and you'll have, if you follow the channel for any period of time, you'll have seen this stuff a lot because we do love it that much. It tastes amazing. The fruity flavours at this time of year as it's getting warmer are insanely good, aren't they?
They are, yeah, bit of ice, oh, lovely.
And they genuinely do keep you full up for hours, so they're a perfect meal replacement. And like I say, it would be all too easy for us to grab something that's far more unhealthy, wouldn't it?
All too easy for me.
So yeah, we love this stuff. If you want to try them for yourself, they do a taster pack. I highly recommend checking out the taster pack, seeing which flavour you like, and then you can order the ones you like. I don't think we've found a flavour we don't like yet, have we?
No.
No. YFood are actually celebrating their birthday this week. Now, this is great news for you because it means there's up to 30% off site-wide, and with our code, you can get an additional 5%. I think this is the biggest saving I've ever seen, so go and check out YFood now. All the information you need, the code and everything else is in the video description below. I'm gonna burp. Can't even have my own burp, can I? Okay, right, our total cost then, including the installation, came in at €11,980. That's all in, done, finished, except for decorating, and I've not included electrical because, again, everyone's different. You may or may not have electrical, you may want very different needs, and we're going to be adding an off-grid system at some point. There's also no plumbing in here because it's not a dwelling, so we can't add, if the minute we put plumbing in, or a shower or toilet, it becomes a dwelling. We do not have planning permission for a dwelling, so we don't have plumbing. But apart from that, that's pretty much all the costs covered. I know the ceiling's not on yet, but the cost for the ceiling is inside of that, in that main bulk, because we have it.
We've got it. We just ain't done it.
I've been waiting for Emily to do the taping and the vapour barrier, and it's just, 3 months later, and you still got a little bit left up there.
I know. Two bits.
She does one rafter a day. She takes one rafter a day, so we're slowly getting there.
I think we need to put it on soon because that tape's...
We can put the book away because that is all of our notes. We're going to go on now to, so one of the biggest questions that we got when we was building it, and we still get today, is why on earth did you build one specifically rather than buying a prefabricated already built one? Now, the first reason was the size. Now, this cabin is built to a very specific size to the millimetre, and that's because I've built it to within the internal dimensions of the old hay shed that used to be here, and I wanted our cladding to come inside of the old uprights that are there. So those old uprights are part of the old railway, and I think they're really cool and don't want to lose it from the property. And we will be reinstating the curve roof back onto those uprights. None of those uprights are square, none of them are level, so I had to build it millimetre perfect. Now, with all the will in the world, I've got a feeling if I ordered a cabin that was, I'm just going to pick numbers out of the air now here, but if I ordered a cabin that was 2,467 millimetres by 3,289 millimetres, they'll just round it up to the nearest metre, so it'll come in at 3.9 by 2.6 or whatever I just said, and I literally needed it to the millimetre to make that cladding work. So that was reason number one. Reason number two is quality.
Oh God, and the headache that I had with her going on and on and on about when she's looking, well, that ain't that good, and that ain't that good, and that ain't that good. No, I'm building it myself.
I wanted something that's going to outlast us. So there's nothing wrong with I just want to say that first, there's nothing wrong with the prefabs on the internet. However, I knew that if I built it myself, I could build something really good for less money, and even I'm shocked at how much we've saved. So
yeah, I am. That's why I'm like, I know it's a lot of money, but I actually think it's that good because I've seen how much they cost. Yeah, so we did a double check last night and this morning just what you get for your money, and it's very confusing because you open up Google and you type in, so you could type in 25 square metre cabin, right, and you might get there's one that comes up at €5,000. Now, I went into that. In fact, let me get it. Where's my phone? But as you can see, they look lovely, although with closer inspection, I think that's an AI-generated image. And this one comes in at, so it's advertised on Google at €4,820. But then if you want a floor of any kind, you need to add on €600, so it doesn't come with a floor at all. If you want a roof, that's another or a roof covering, that's another €900. If you then want wall insulation package, and that's at 50mm PIR, so we've got 100mm insulation ours, they're only 50mm, it's another €2,970. And then there's the foundation, which we won't include because we didn't include that with ours. Then if you want any sealant, if you want it sealed of any kind, you've got to pay another €83 for that. Ventilation, another €170 for that. Corner coverings for the outside, another €420 for that. If you want FSC certified wood, which isn't construction grade, but it is, it's been grown from a responsible source, you pay an extra €45 for that. If you want any kind of treatment so that it can last outside, it's another €5,200 for that. So if you put all of that on, it comes in at €16,600.
That one's made with 3x2 studs, so I don't know how they're getting 100mm insulation in the walls, because they did have that as an option. It doesn't work. And then we've also used construction grade timber, so C16 or C24 timber, and we've used 4x2s. Most of these are made of 3x2s. That one has it doesn't give you any information about if there's any snow load rating for the roof. So that's something I'd be looking at no matter where you live, because it only takes 1 year of big snow and you could be in trouble. So that's the cheap option. And as you can see, just of those few, without going into masses of detail.
Isn't that one a little bit smaller as well?
That is only 20 square metres, yeah. Ours is 25 square metres. So looking at the cheaper options, there's a lot more to it than just open up a Google and say, oh, I can buy a prefab for this. Now, you can buy a shed. You can buy a very nice 25 square metre shed for cheaper than this, but fully insulated with PIR.
Yep.
Proper cladding on the outside. Like I say, we've used larch. Most of these are using spruce. Nothing wrong with spruce. Spruce will be absolutely fine, but larch is just, in my opinion, that little bit better. Or cedar. I'd happily have cedar as well, but larch fitted our area, I think, better than cedar. Looked too posh, basically. Cedar looked too nice.
We're definitely not posh.
I did also do a comparison from another company that looks very good. So this one was the closest one I could find to our spec, and this one comes in at 31,299 euros. But it has proper double glazing for the windows and doors. This one is 26 square metres, so 1 square metre bigger, and it's got extra windows, so there is a bit more cost involved in that. But
still, nearly 20,000 euros
more expensive. And again, a 3x2 spruce frame, whereas we've got 4x2. And with a building, for a stud wall, nearly always I would use 4x2, especially if it's an external stud wall and it's supporting a flat roof. I'd always go for 4x2 if I can. 1, because you can get a decent amount of insulation in, and 2, it's just stronger. None of these give me the centre distances between their studs. So they're saying 3x2, but I don't know if they're at 400mm centres, I don't know if they're at 600mm centres, so we don't have that. This one does use C24 and C16 construction grade timber, but the insulation is wool in the floor, the roof and the walls. This one does have your wind barrier, does have rodent mesh, which we've also got on ours, which we didn't talk about, but it came in the costs.
Yeah.
So this is as close as I could get, and even then, with all the add-ons, it still doesn't have quite as much insulation or as good as insulation, and it comes in, what did you say, 20 grand cheaper nearly?
20 grand more expensive.
So yeah, that's why we didn't go for a prefab.
Wow, it's a lot, isn't it?
It is a big difference. So because you just open Google and you see the flash prices that come up, I thought we was going to be about the same price.
Yeah.
I'm shocked that the absolute minimum I could find for even remotely similar was a price difference of 6,000 euros.
Yeah.
Or 5,000 euros.
5,000 euros, yeah.
To get something nearly as good, but not quite as good, you're looking at a difference anywhere between 15 to 25,000 euros. So
that's crazy amounts, isn't it?
Yes, and none of those prices I've quoted include installation. You can pay these people to come out and install it for you, but that's normally a good few grand on top.
Yes, it is, yeah. Because people will say about, well, you know, it took you longer to build this than if you was to buy a prefab one, but not 20 grand's worth of time.
Emily's right, it probably did take us longer. I think the weather didn't help.
Yes, we was building it at the wrong time, but, you know, we wouldn't have chosen realistically to build it at that time. It's just circumstances of things that was going on in life that we was like, do you know what, we're just going to build it.
Yes, our dog lost his leg and he just needed a bit more space.
Yes.
We wasn't planning to be here for winter at all.
No.
We needed a bit more space, didn't we?
Yes.
And I knew we could chuck up a timber frame cabin pretty quick. And we did get the bulk of this up in a month, which I think is impressive.
Do you know what? I do, because we was in here for Christmas and that was what I wanted, and you made that happen.
We made that happen.
I'll tell you what, yeah, them most people, never again.
I'm never, ever going to not hear about these flipping OSB boards, am I?
That was horrendous, Louise. I've never known, like, I keep telling people, I'm an office worker. I'm not a manual labourer. Do you know what I mean?
To be fair to Emily, she was lifting OSB, so 18mm sheets of OSB are quite heavy. She was lifting them 2.2 metres off the ground, and at 5'1", and don't tell me you're 5'2", she's 5'1", you run out of height before you got to the top.
On this, for this example, I'll agree with you.
I was just 5 foot all of a sudden. I bet that's what you're going to say. I'm too short.
Honestly, I ran out of height quickly and I was on my tippy toes holding all of this weight.
Fingertips trying to push them up. So that's the cost. So hopefully that's given you some useful information if you're planning on building your own. or some satisfying information if you're just really nosy and want to know how much we spent on the
And
thing.
do you know what? I don't mind nosiness because I would be the same. I'm like, you want to know how much did it cost then?
Oh yeah, we've had quite a few people tell us I can't believe you've wasted your money building that, but we're very happy with it. It's given us a lot of space, hasn't it?
For me, all right, people were like, oh yeah, but we'll slow you down in the house and things like that. No, because we couldn't do things in the cottage anyway. That's why we was also going to be going away for the winter, because there wasn't enough stuff.
Yes.
So,
and it also gives us a dust-free environment. Anyone that's done a big renovation, and our cottage is a big dusty renovation, as you've all seen, trying to live in the dust whilst you're doing it is just horrible. So because it is going to take so long to do the cottage, and because of AJ's, our dog's current situation, we're not going to rush. Well, no. I'm not going to rush to do that cottage to appease some of you when I want to spend that time with my dog, because we're still
100%.
getting people in the comments, build the cottage, build the cottage.
And it's like, we never bought it to build it
in a rush.
That was never ever the plan. We always still want to go and do some more travelling and spend some quality time together. So unfortunately, we could still be doing this in 5 years' time. I hope
it won't
not.
be 5 years' time. It'll be 2 years. We'll be in the cottage, not this Christmas, next.
Next Christmas.
Yeah. Don't tell everyone 5 years. Everyone will switch off and come back in 5 years. I'll be like, I'll just see how they're going in 5 years.
No, because we'll be doing other exciting stuff in between. We've got plans, people.
We have got plans.
We got plans.
But yes, now the cabin is pretty much built. We'll be decorating it at some point soon. We're trying to work with the weather. I think in Ireland it's important to work with the weather. So when the weather's good, you want to be doing outdoor projects, because you don't know when the next batch of 1 month long period of rain, and that could be in July, August, September. So
whenever.
We're working with the weather, aren't we?
We are indeed.
Yes, but I think that's about it. I think that covers everything, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think so. And we've got such a beautiful space.
Yes.
It's so nice to chill out in here, isn't it?
Yes, and for anyone who's seen last week's video and is worried about AJ, he's doing very well this week. So
he is indeed. He's enjoying some sunshine, destroying some toys, and
he's still okay. And on that happy note, we'll see you all on the next one.